Folks, it's RJ Young. I am not on Step Mill. Consider hitting the like and subscribe button because I upload a video every single day. So it's college football related, sports related. We have a good time. Today, I'm going to instantly react to the college football playoff rankings for week 14 in what is looking like a much different week than what we thought was going to be on Sunday when the Associated Press rankings came out, as Ohio State, Michigan has been canceled. Tulsa versus Cincinnati has also been canceled. Clemson and Notre Dame have a bye week given to them by the ACC. Right now, Alabama and Florida are still scheduled to play football, but we'll see about that. LSU is coming apart with the whole Eric Gilbert thing, but I'm also interested to see where Coastal Carolina ends up in this thing. I made a video for Fox Sports where I argued that Coastal Carolina is a top 10 team after defeating BYU in Conway, South Carolina on Saturday in what was perhaps the best game of the weekend, if not the best game of the season. Not just because it was two undefeated teams playing in December, but because the way that it ended was awesome. 1 yard short for BYU after trying to come back when the touchdown would have given them a 1-point victory. Coastal Carolina wins that 22-17, and now we got to talk about the Chanticleers in a very meaningful way. Feels like the American has stacked the deck for Cincinnati to try to get into the playoff. And there's two ways of looking at that, right? There's the Ohio State Big Ten way of looking at that, which is they're our best chance to get into the playoff and we have to protect them at all costs. And then there's what I genuinely think, which is that, look, man, I hate the way that this has gone down. No matter what you think about conspiracy, Tulsa has had that game rescheduled twice and would like nothing more than to have Cincinnati at their house like they're supposed to, as the schedule came out, and hand them an L. They have what I believe is the best defensive player and best linebacker in the country in Zaven Collins. And Tulsa's just been extremely fun to watch this year. If anybody can hand Cincinnati an L, it's going to be the Golden Hurricane. But Cincinnati has an opportunity to be 9-0 and perhaps sneak into the playoff. Texas A&M wants a shot at Ohio State. They won't get one. Texas A&M is also a one-loss team, and we're not here to cape for one-loss teams. That's not what we do. Winning matters. Until we get a 16-team playoff, which is what I have told y'all we need to get from the jump, you need to start taking a look at the teams that have zeros in the loss column and not the ones that have ones in the loss column to try to tell me what you think about a team, because that's garbage. I hate that. The purists among us want to talk about college football for every game mattering until they lose a game that, mattered, because they all matter. And that's one of the reasons why I've always been saying, let's go 16, because everybody that should get in would get in. That means you get Coastal Carolina versus Alabama if that's what the seeding is. That means you get Notre Dame versus perhaps even two-loss Georgia for those of y'all that want to get them in there. Perhaps even Tulsa can sneak in there with a win against Cincinnati and be a one-loss team that has an opportunity to play against a Clemson. And on it goes, right? I think that making college football into the people's sport rather than the rich elitist sport is what we need to do. And the reason that we're pushing for this, or I am, is because the money has outgrown the sport right now. Like, it wasn't that long ago when we were talking about the University of Oklahoma suing the NCAA for the right to play on national television more than twice a year. As a matter of fact, if you're an Ohio State or a Michigan fan listening to this or watching this live, you also understand that in Coach Schembechler's day, there were only 2 games that were on television because that's all they allowed you to do in the Big Ten. Everything else was on the radio or you were at the game. And that's one of the reasons that the culture of being at the game and culture of listening to the radio is such a big deal. There are people that still to this day turn off the national broadcast announcers and try to sync up to the radio because they really trust that voice a little bit more than they do the guys that only pop in their living room once or twice a year. And that's where we're at right now. I think we need to try to grow this into a for real coast-to-coast national playoff, and that is going to have the best impact and the most impact on the sport going forward as we grow it from $5 billion annually to more than that. And you have more teams like Coastal Carolina have an opportunity to get a place on the map where people can get Ali Farokhmanesh, but nobody's going to say that Kansas isn't going to win the national championship, right? Or for that matter, Kentucky. But you do want to see a Wichita State every now and again get one up on Kansas. It's a lot more fun that way. And if you get beat in this current model, you have no recourse. You are at the mercy of the committee. And I don't want to be at the mercy of a bunch of suits. I think the scoreboard is the selection committee. Hello? That's what we need to be doing. Let the scoreboard figure it out and go from there. All right, so at 25, Missouri jumps in there after being unranked at 5-3. Tulsa sticks at 6-1 at 24. North Carolina State is 23. Wow, 8-3. Oklahoma State is still ranked, man, falling 7 spots to 22. And Colorado's in there. Joel Klatt's fighting Colorado at 4-0, number 21. Telling you, man, those zeros ought to matter. Texas at number 20 is 63. I don't get it, man. Louisiana, ULL at number 19, up a spot, 9-1. BYU falls 5 spots to 18. They're 9-1. North Carolina sticks at 17. They're 7-3. Iowa at 16 moves 3 spots. Number 15, USC. All right. We got number 14, Northwestern, 5-1. Coastal Carolina moves up 5 spots to 13, not a top 10 team according to this playoff committee, man. I don't get it with them. Indiana at 6-1 at 12, and then Oklahoma at 7-2 at 11. Put Coastal Carolina in front of both of those teams. Like, what are we doing now? They're gonna have Georgia as a top 10 team again. My goodness, man. Miami's at number 10. They're 8-1. Only losses to a previously number 1 ranked Clemson. Let's go. Give me 9. Give me 8. Give me 7. Give me 6. Give me 5. Give me 4. Give me 3. Give me 2. Give me 1. Let's go. Show Georgia, because we know that's what y'all want. Yes. Georgia's at number 9 as a 2-loss team. Man, what are we doing? What are we doing? Why do we play the games? Why do we play the games? If we're going to rank 2-loss teams in the top 10 when we got undefeated teams left, why do we play the games? Cincinnati is at 8. All right, so now we're going to move Iowa State to 7? They're a 1-loss team. And they lost to a Louisiana that you wouldn't rank higher than 19. What are you doing? Who is in this room? Guys, come on. Come on, man. Like, why? Are we just gonna, why do we even have games played? If we're gonna rank top 10 teams at 2 losses, why do we even mess around with this? Why do we even pretend? Iowa State's coming in at 7, Herbie, excuse me, just wait on it. See? 7. Like I said, they ain't gonna put that team in no top 6. 8-2, up 2 spots. They destroyed West Virginia 42-6. They're still a 2-loss team, man. They lost to ULL. What is this Sun Belt just disrespect, man? My goodness. I don't understand. Coastal Carolina's 10-0. Cincinnati's 8-0, but Cincinnati's number 8 and Coastal Carolina's number 13? Why are we doing this? Explain to me why this is happening. A better team right now, man? They're 2-loss team. Louisiana's only losses to Coastal Carolina. They're undefeated. How are these things not taken into account? Do we have a college football playoff or do we have a name brand playoff? I want an egalitarian system. I want a system where the scoreboard picks who plays who. This is garbage. Why are we doing this? BYU still underrated, but Coastal Carolina is not a top 10 team? Reese! Yeah, let's see the top 6. Put A&M at 6. Oh, Alabama's at 1. All right. Let's go. Come on. We all agree on that. Let's go. Roll them out. Notre Dame at 2. Okay, roll them out. Put Clemson at 3. Go ahead, roll them out. Clemson's at 3. So Ohio State's at 4. We're going to see A&M at 5. We're going to see Florida at 6. Go ahead, give it to me. Yeah, all right, fine. 5-0 Ohio State, who doesn't get to play Michigan, who everybody wants to come out with their knives out for. Like, what's with the suspense here, man? Florida's at 6, A&M's at 5. There's nothing that Coastal Carolina is going to be able to do between now and December 20th to crack the top 10 if beating an undefeated BYU ain't going to do it. But I'm going to wear my Coastal Carolina National Championship t-shirt. That's what I'm going to do. Nah, man. There's nothing that Coastal Carolina gets to do now. It's just, it ain't going to, no. I want it to happen. This was the best opportunity it was going to happen. They're not going to see a better opponent than what they saw against BYU. And we know now that the committee just doesn't care. They don't care about whether or not you won games or lost games. See Georgia as a top 10 team. They only care about what they see on a roster. I can't with this, man. This feels fraudulent. This feels wrong. We do this every year, and I feel the same about it every year. There's 3 or 4 teams that we all agree are really good, but I would love to see those 3 or 4 teams play against the other undefeated teams that we agree are, undefeated objectively. My goodness, man. Like, both Coastal Carolina and Cincinnati should be top 10 teams, period, with opportunities to pick up the slack if one of those teams with the one loss in front of them were to stumble. And that's in this one that we're talking about now. It's why I want to play off. I want to put to bed who's good and who's not. Not what we think, but what actually is. Otherwise, why are we playing the games? What's the scoreboard for? Bro, like, that's the other part of this. Like, people are going to get upset that Ohio State's going to get in if they only play 6 games or 7 games, right? 6 games in. What I'm interested in is what happens when Colorado or USC gets to 7-0. You going to do the same thing for them? No, because you don't believe in your head that USC is as good as Ohio State. I would love to see USC play Ohio State in a playoff. But we're not going to do that because of the system that we put in place where we have 13 suits telling us who the best teams are as opposed to the teams deciding this on the football field. I'm fired up about this, man. I can't with this. This is getting on my nerves. It's not even that Georgia's trash. It's that Georgia has 2 losses. They play in a powerful conference. So they choose to play in that conference. And now everybody's at the mercy of their schedule, which isn't fair either. And you know what? If you had a schedule full of Western Carolina and Savannah State and Mercer and you went undefeated, cool. You get into the playoff and then you probably get destroyed because the playoff would correct all this. We have wild card games in the NFL. We have divisionals in the NFL. We have conference championships in the NFL. We have a Super Bowl. And you've seen teams go from all the way to the bottom to the top just by making it in. Somebody in the NFC East gets to play in the playoffs. And y'all are arguing with me about a 13-0 Coastal Carolina making the playoff? Get out of here. Dude, why am I feeling like I'm the only person who's sane here? Like, who do I have to talk to? What room do I have to get into to make people understand what the right thing to do here is? There's enough to go around, man. Now we got to talk about whether or not the Big Ten is going to change the rules to put Ohio State into the Big Ten championship game. And then what if the worst case scenario there is Ohio State loses Northwestern? They still would have been the Big Ten East champs because they beat Indiana. Like, that doesn't change anything. So Clemson has to beat Notre Dame and Florida has to beat Alabama for Ohio State not to get into the playoff. I don't think that both of those things are going to happen, but they're both on the table. Like, that's the part about this that sucks for Ohio State is they could win the Big Ten championship and probably secure a spot. If they don't win the Big Ten championship, probably not. Corey Harden says the system is all about money. Yeah. But there's more money to be made by expanding the playoff, dog, because you grow the inventory. You have more games played, more games on television, more television money. That's how that works. You're making more money. Like, I don't understand how we get so many capitalists involved in these conversations that think that there is a finite amount of money to be made. That's not true. You create more opportunities and avenues to make money. Guess what? Everybody makes more money. That's how this thing works. Game theory. Do what's best for yourself and the group. Not what's best for yourself, not what's best for the group. What's best for yourself and the group. See, Doc Winston O'Boogie says a committee is a good way of rigging things in order to make sure the teams that generate the most revenue get selected. Again, you can have all those teams in a playoff situation. But as it stands today, you only have 3 games that matter. When you could have multitudes more. You could have dozens more. Literally. If you had 16 teams, you get 8 games to start, right? Right? Then you get 4 more. Then you get 2 more. Then you get 1 more. It's a lot of money. It's a lot of money to be made. Why are we not discussing this in the way that I believe economists would discuss this?